Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Wrote Reviews. I'm S01E16 Collins. I'm my co-host.
Vance Bastion.
And this week, we are doing Death at a Funeral. Now, while this isn't really a gay movie, what is gay and queer about it is it, at the very core of this film, is a gay story. And it is the catalyst for all the creepy and chaos that ensues, all the black comedy.
You might want to call it a gay history, because it all happens prior to the start of the film.
Yes. So the official line is, chaos ensues when a man tries to expose a dark secret regarding a recently deceased patriarch of a dysfunctional British family. And I have to tell you, just off the cuff, before we get into the real meat of it, I have to say that nothing thrills me more than watching Brits fall apart.
Oh.
No, it is. It's just when a tea kettle is involved, you know, real shit's going down. And they made a lot of tea in this one.
Yes, they did.
They spilt it and had to make some more. Anyways, first kind of impression from you. What did you think?
It was hilarious. Some stellar cast members, really witty writing, and the core plot twist. And I'm not sure how much we should spoil, but the core plot twist, epic.
And it continues into the U.S. version, which was made a couple of years later. So there's an in-joke to the joke, you know. And we will leave it there. Can we just say, though, that we need to say here and now that Alan Tudyk is probably one of the best ever character actors that can pull off weirdness in a way that nobody I've ever seen do. I mean, yeah, you have your Andy Serkis, but that's too theatrical. Alan just goes into this realm in his head that just manifests these amazingly memorable characters. You know, he's the undisputed king. I mean, you know, it's just, I really, really, really love his work. I've never been, even if the rest of the movie is a crap hole of dung, he's always good at what he does. And you watch him, you know. But yeah, and it's funny because, you know, being a Texan boy, you know, he pulls the British accent off beautifully. You'd think he was a native, you know.
I didn't think he had an accent in this one. I thought he was the American that everybody didn't want the British girl to marry.
I don't remember it sounding American, though.
I don't remember him sounding British. That's just it. He folded into his own alternate universe, and we all heard different things.
Well, that's the Tudyk universe. Was he? Wasn't he? Yeah. Well, his comedy does kind of overtake you, and that you kind of just suspend so much disbelief, but willingly, that you're just in for the ride. You're like, okay, buckle up, here we go. You know. Although that's not to take away from the absolute brilliance of Matthew McFadden and Rupert Graves as Daniel and Robert, respectively, the brothers of this family whose patriarch, whose father has died. You know, but the whole cast is littered with really wonderful character actors. This is a character actors movie. And just the most marvelous thing. And then, you know, Peter Dinklage's character, you know, showing up, you know, and in the British one, you know, you kind of just see him and you just think, oh, another family member or somebody else, you know. You really don't see anything coming from left field about him until it starts to onion skin away and you begin to get at the core of this queerness that's in the center of this whole story. And I think casting him in that role was pure comic genius, and he goes for broke. I think he's right up there with Alan. They're both leading the charge in this thing, you know.
100%.
So, So go give your whole spiel about what you want to talk about with it, and then I'll jump in and with things that I have to say about it.
My whole spiel about what I want to talk about.
Yeah, what did you think of it? I mean, the whole.
Oh, I thoroughly loved it. I encourage everybody to watch it. Don't take yourself too seriously. Please don't take it seriously. It's not about.
Yeah, it's
death.
a black comedy. It's not a drama. It's a just drama, and it has drama.
It is definitely not about somebody dying and being dead. It is about how they lived their life and the after effects of that. How about that for a non-spoiler? Brilliantly told. Like I said, we're dancing around the core issue because it is so amazing when it unfolds before your eyes that your jaw will hit your lap. And you will stare at your screen for 30 whole seconds, not believing and not breathing.
And can I just say, I remember seeing it in the theater with my husband. And the sequence in the bathroom with the uncle. You know, I know that it's relatable to everyone, but it's pure boy toilet humor. And that's all I'll say about that scene.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And to see Brits do it, for me, was even funnier.
Uh-huh. Yeah, about halfway through the movie, most of the characters in the story had just thrown out any level of propriety. It's gone.
Yeah. It does devolve into madness. It really does.
They just...
but in the best possible way.
Yeah. Watch it. Enjoy it. Don't take yourself seriously.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
Especially if you're in a mood where you want something to take you out of whatever you're dealing with in life, and you want something that is a pure popcorn, okay, entertain my butt, while I'm sitting here, it will definitely meet the measure. So why don't you give them your ratings?
All right. Overall production, gave it a 4. Comedy production. It wasn't designed to be big vistas or anything, but loved it. Script, screenplay, 4. Brilliantly written. Really well done. Sound, lighting, score, 3. It was okay. That part didn't knock my socks off. Art direction, costuming, bumped it back up to a 4. I thought it was perfectly appropriate for the crazy family at a funeral. Casting, 5. This cast gave it its all. Directing and cinematography, gave it a 4. Again, they understood it completely, but I think the actors took it and ran with it a little better than the director anticipated, maybe. Queer themes presented, 3. And again, only because this movie isn't about a gay storyline, except one happened that affected everything.
Yes, it's the catalyst, yeah.
But it's unlikely to affect the lives of a gay person today. So give it a 3, but a brilliant 3. So personal overall, 4.
Okay. Mine is basically 5s across the board. The only caveat I have is that how do I say this? The plot itself is beautifully written, beautifully executed, and onion skinned with mastery. But the only area that I kind of wish had been a little bit more is under the direction. I feel some of the angles worked okay, but there could have been some more fine tuning with the angles and shots and stuff to capture the moment. There were a couple of times where you do get distance shots, and I think you lose some of that. Like when there's a sequence where everybody's down in the garden, you kind of lose what all of their perspective looks are. They do cutaways, but I think it's kind of a little more interesting if they had done a little bit of a tighter shot than the one that seems to be from Mercury looking down. So I would just say, in directing, it's a 4.5, but 5s across the board. And I give it, for my personal, a 4.5. Now, having said all of that with our discussion, there is a US version that came out 2 years later with an all-black cast. And mostly
all black.
Mostly all black cast, yes. Yeah, there are about 3 people that are not black in the film. And
including the repeat character.
England,
Including the repeat character.
Yes. And the the I watched the U.S. version. Of course, it came out 2 years later. I was really looking forward to being as entertained, but with a black kind of perspective on the story. And the first time I watched it, I think I was a little too harsh. And I'm only adding this as a you should watch it, because I watched it again last night with fresh eyes, saying, okay, just let the story be told. And while I think that the humor from the black community creates a whole different kind of level of storytelling, I think that the comedies, you can't really compare the two. They come from very different places within these families. Yes, the experiences can be the same, but how the families react generally has some play in some of the different aspects of that. And so when I watched it last night for the second time, well, probably the fifth time now that I think about it, I really let go of all the what I had held on to so much for the British version, and I just let myself give myself over to the cast, and I really found that I enjoyed it. I laughed. I still had all of the same kinds of feelings, but it is based in LA with a black family, so you have a very different kind of perspective on the humor and how the humor plays out in this dark comedy. So people want to watch them and compare them. I would definitely recommend it. Or you can even see them in reverse, or watch the American one and watch the British one and see which one speaks to you more. But yeah, it does. There is a second version of the same movie, an Americanized version. So might want to check that out too. And that's it for this week. Next week, we're going to start going into the realm of queer coding in films. This next one we're going to do is Fanny Flagg's Fried Green Tomatoes. Based upon her. Huh? Oh, Tawanda?
Tawanda.
Tawanda.
Face it, girls. I'm older and I have more insurance.
Because I'm a dork.
Yeah, Tawanda! And for the children who don't know about it, back in the past, a lot of stories had queer coding, especially if they were historical stories being told, where gay wasn't a thing in the mainstream at all. It was really subversive. It was in metropolitan cities where you had subcultures of it, but in rural areas, and Fried Green Tomatoes takes place in the South, in Alabama. So there is a queer coding that goes on in this movie that's not an overt, this is a lesbian love story.
Right.
But in the end, you really understand that's where these two women that are the central figures in it, of the historical part of the story, that this did happen. I also think it shows people that you didn't need the titles. People were just who they were. So, there's that aspect of it too. But we're going to start with Fried Green Tomatoes and do a lesbian relationship story, historical story. And then we're going to go the following week looking at the queerness of Hitchcock. And we're going to do Rope. So we're starting to explore the area where they're not really a gay movie, where it's all about the gay relationship. It is, but it's not overtly spoken. It's something that's coded within the film that gays had to look for to see themselves represented. So that's our next couple of weeks where we're starting to move into that area. So we're giving you mainstream movies that have queer coded elements to it. So join us for that starting next week. And until then, I'm Baz Collins.
I'm Vance Bastion.
And we'll see you at the movies. Take care,
Bring your
everybody.
popcorn.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.